If you're looking to actively improve your body composition, which simply means to put on lean muscle tissue and decrease the amount of body fat you have on your body, on a whole food plant-based diet and or a more plant-based centric diet, even if you just want to be 70, 80%, 90%, hey, the more plant-based you eat, the better it's going to be for your health, right? I can't twist someone's arm to force them to eat 100% plant-based, but if I can throw in more veggies and more grains and legumes on your plate, then I know I'm reducing the risk of you getting potentially sick on the road.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Best Life by You, the podcast dedicated to helping you overcome challenges around nutrition, mindset, training, relationships, and, well, all of the above. I'm your host, Julia, and today we have a super special guest with us, somebody that I know you guys are going to learn a lot from. You're going to be able to buy his book, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but here is no other than Maxime Sigouin. So, well, hello, Maxime. What's up?
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, yes. And just for everybody listening, wait for this introduction. So, Maxime is the founder and CEO of Mavy Wellness, formerly Fit Vegan Coaching, the world's leading plant-based whole food body recomposition program. Over the past almost 6 years, he and his team have helped more than 1,100 clients transform their body composition and reclaim their health. A passionate advocate of the plant-based lifestyle, Maxime has been whole food plant-based for over a decade and has dedicated his life to helping others thrive on plants. His mission is bold and clear: transform 10,000 people by 2033 and 1 million by 2050 through sustainable fat loss, disease prevention, and lifelong vitality. His coaching blends science-backed strategies with a compassionate, results-driven approach that empowers clients to thrive and future-proof their health. He hosts the successful Maxime Sigouin podcast, nominated for a Veggie Award by VegNews.com, where he shares insight, expert conversations, and inspiring success stories from the community. Maxime is also an athlete, which we were speaking about before this, currently training for basketball, showing firsthand how powerful plant-based nutrition can be for performance and longevity. Originally from Canada, he now lives in California with his wife, Ivy, and their dog, Tempe, so cute, where they continue working toward a healthier, more compassionate world. Maxime's newest project, and the thing that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about today, and his most significant project yet, is his upcoming book, Forever Fit, launching this January 2026. Where did all of this passion come from for writing a book? What an introduction. I'm so happy to have you here. And I really just want to dive into all of this. Wherever you want to start, and quite an introduction. I don't know if you want to dive into your book, talk about that, because that's something huge. Or we could talk about your rebranding, but honestly, it's an introduction. Wherever you want to start, I'm happy to just dive in and let you have the stage with this.
Yeah, well, thank you. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
hearing you read, kind of go through all of that. Like, I remember when I started this whole journey like 6 years ago
Yeah.
and reading introductions to people and writing them before, I was like, man, they've done so much stuff. And now, having had my head down for almost 6 years and now
Yeah.
being on other people's show, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I've done a few things in the past 6 years,
Yeah.
It's really cool. The rebranding and everything, I think kind of all ties in with the book, which is just
Yeah.
an expansion of the brand to be able to continue to fulfill the mission, which, you
Yeah.
listed earlier. The goal is 10,000 people by 2033 and 1 million by 2050. We're
Yeah.
nearing 1,200 people now.
It's
And
amazing.
it's going to be 6 years of us doing this in like maybe 3 months. So obviously at that rate, we're going to be pretty tight because it's been exponential every year, but it's still going to be pretty tight, which is why I decided to kind of write the book. Because
Yeah.
to me, I always count a life impacted by someone that has had the information to be able to transform their health and their body.
Yeah.
And right now, the only way to do that on a like more direct level was to work with us in our coaching program. But realistically, it's not going to be feasible for everyone. And we don't have the capacity to handle like 5,000 people
Yeah.
in one go. So
Yeah.
because it is limited in that way, I was like, okay, well, if the information is the thing that counts as a life transform, like why not put all the methodologies and pattern that we've noticed throughout all the 6 years and all those lives transform and all the tools that we've developed into a book, and then count every book sold as a life transform, because they now have
Yeah.
all the concise information to transform. And so that's why the idea for the book came about, because the mission was so big and I was like, I need to do something bigger than what I've currently been doing. And that's
Yeah.
when it started in January of 2025.
Wow. I'm really impressed by everything. And just everyone listening, if you don't know Maxime and like his backstory and whatnot, definitely go listen to his podcast. But we're going to highlight a little bit of where that passion for veganism and transforming lives came from, because something I've spoken about on this podcast and something I love to hear from very successful people like yourself is that why. Because nobody that is so successful, again, like you, doesn't have a why. Like every person has a reason for what they're doing and why they're doing it. So if you want to, your book again is going to, I'm sure, highlight some of that. But
Yeah, a little bit.
I would just love to start, like, take a few steps back. Where did this passion come from? What made you, want to have such a big goal to transform people's lives?
Yeah, for sure. So, I just celebrated over 11 years of being whole food plant based now. It's been a really long time, way before it was cool, when all the treats you could have was it like tofu that was banana flavored? Like that was dessert back in the day. Took me a few years
Oh
to figure
God.
out that Oreos were vegan. That took me a while.
That was the first thing I knew was vegan.
Really? Okay, yeah, I know.
I was
It
like,
took me a
I was
few
like, what are
years,
the desserts?
but I'm happy it took me a few years because else I would have ate a bunch of it at the beginning and I wouldn't have like dove into like whole food plant based eating properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, just started earlier on. Quick background story. I used to be a bodybuilder. I used to weigh 240 pounds. I used to be super jacked and compete on stage, and then got recruited to do high fashion modeling. An agent saw me and was like, "You have, I'm sure there's a jawline under those big chubby cheeks. He's like, try losing some weight." And so I went online. I was like, "What diet's gonna get me the skinniest, the fastest?" And it said vegans. Vegans are skinny and weak. I was like, "Fantastic! I don't like being weak, but I need to get skinny." And so the next day, I immediately went vegan. Went from a dozen eggs for breakfast with like oatmeal and blueberries and peanut butter, it's the same breakfast almost 5 years, to just I think it was like frozen blueberries, dates, and bananas for my breakfast. And managed to lose 80 pounds in my first year. A lot of that was fat, but also a lot of that was muscle, which was on
Hmm.
purpose, right? Ate
Hmm.
super low in protein, stopped strength training, just did cardio. Was able to lose the weight and model in Italy, and in Milan, Italy. I was able to work in New York and in different cities. But
Hmm.
that's kind of what started the journey. And I felt so darn good doing it, though. I was like, hey, there's probably something to it. So when I got out of the modeling industry, I was like, let me just stick with this because I feel good. Like, why would I want to go back to how I was feeling before? And then fast forward a few years, I meet my late partner, my previous partner, and within 3 months of us dating, she gets diagnosed with breast cancer.
Hmm.
So I had a decision to make, and I decided to stick by her side and be her caregiver for the whole healing journey. And that lasted about 4.5 years before she passed away. So I was about 27 when she passed away. But during that whole time, and she wasn't whole food plant, she wasn't even vegan. I was like, hey, you should probably whole food plant based. There's a lot of studies backing it up. And a doctor gave her a year to live. She lived 4.5 years. I think a lot of that had to do with, lifestyle changes and the way that she was fueling herself.
Hmm.
And I started the business maybe a bit less than a year before she passed away because
Hmm.
this is a crazy story. It's like peak COVID, basically.
Hmm.
At a corporate job, they're like, hey, we made bad financial decisions. You're the last person hired. We have to let you go. And I was like, I have the company car. I'm using this to drive her to cancer treatments. That's my job, to fund cancer treatments. I'm like, this is a terrible situation. They're like, it's just business. So that really made me angry.
Horrible.
And I was like, I'm not working for anyone else ever again. And I decided to coach online because I was still doing some personal training, but in person, just part time.
Hmm.
So I decided to go online, could make it work, found a mentor, and he told me, he's like, hey, you have to make this investment if you want to work with me to learn how to do this online. And I told him, I was like, hey, I'm like 7 in debt from cancer treatments. I have $34.37 and I have it tattooed inside my finger right here as a reminder of where I was. I took a screenshot. I
Yeah.
sent it to him
Hmm.
and I was like, that's all I have. I'm like, let me give you this. And then once I make money, I'll pay you the rest. It's like, no. He's like, if you're really in that situation, you'll find a way. So call my credit card company, which owed a ton of money on, no reason for them to
Yeah.
give you money. And I was like, hey, can I get an extension for this amount? And I was like, COVID time, basically. Like I couldn't get
Yeah.
any other job. And they said yes. So I called them back. I was like, hey, charge my card before they changed their mind, before they removed the extension that they put. And yeah, basically made the payment. He gave me access to the portal. I worked 18 hours a day every single day for 30 days straight. And I made half of my yearly income in my first month. And that just changed my life. I was like, this feels illegal. I'm doing something wrong. I told my dad, he's like, you're going to go to jail. He's like, you can't, you can't be making money like this. And I was like, I feel like I'm doing everything right. They're giving me money and I'm offering them a service and I'm helping them, you know? It took me a good like 3-4 months to realize like, okay, I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm actually doing
Yeah.
everything properly. It's just, I'm doing it well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I started this, and I was a blessing because it allowed me to
Yeah.
have a lot of excess cash to pay for cancer treatments and to get us out of the hole. Because I have a piece of paper here in my office, and it's my last piece of paper that I had to eat at the food bank. I didn't have money for food, and because I lost my corporate job, so I was going to lose my apartment. The only money I had for food, I would give it to her to eat organic fruits and vegetables, and I was eating at the food bank. So my next date for the food bank was April 8th, 2020. That's when I was supposed to go and grab my next bag.
Wow.
But then I started making money. I was like, oh yeah, I don't need to go to the food bank anymore. It's fantastic.
Wow. Wow.
And then that allowed me to honestly get her treatments and things that I believe alleviated a lot of her pain and maybe added an extra
Yeah.
few months to her life. And then, yeah, when she passed away, I made it a mission to help people not be in her position. And, you know, for her, there was no genetic component. It was purely lifestyle related. Like she wasn't eating whole food plant-based, exercising, you know, just a little bit, but it was nothing crazy. And stress was a big factor because she was running her own company at the time and living off of energy drinks and protein bars, which, you know, many people do nowadays.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what kind of started the journey of like the direction that we're in now, and never thought we'd be here talking
Yeah.
about a book.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, God, I pray that God blesses you and plentiful. Like, I pray that you see millions and millions and that you don't even know what to do with the abundance, because the life of how caring you are and how selfless you were during that time, because not many people would make that decision to stand by somebody's side of someone they like kind of just met. Like it wasn't like, oh, this is my sibling, this isn't somebody I've been with for years. Like, you have such a pure, good heart that goes to show. I think
Thank you.
just everything. Oh, truly, like I pray that, you know, God continues to bless you and Ivy and your business, right? Like, I'm so glad that you guys are number one in the world, because you deserve to be number one in the world for how much you work and just, or how much thought you put into it. And something else that I admire about you so much is not just how much care you give into your business and into your mission and into what you do, but also how you practice what you preach to people. And that's something and correct me if I'm wrong, it's every month you take is it 7 days of a detox, or
Yeah, the first 7 days of every month.
first 7 days? So because that is unheard of, especially in New York. I've
Yeah.
been a workaholic, and this is the first time in I think like 6 years, I am finally having Sundays off, not
Nice.
working Sundays. Like, I'm taking it off. God rests on the seventh day. I can rest on the seventh day. Like, this is something I'm making that work for me. And I'm still in my building a business stage, so it's a lot. But if you wouldn't mind sharing that, because that's something that a lot of people would be like, heck no, I can't take time off. And so I'd love for you to explain what you do with that, how it helps you in your business, why you think other people could benefit from something, even if it's not 7 days, like, and how do you do it running a business, and how do you not like get focused on finances or anything with that. So go ahead and dive into all of that.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot in there. So,
Yeah.
you know, for people listening, I do a 7-day digital detox on the first 7 days of every month. So that means no social media, no email, no Slack, no work at all, right? No YouTube, no TV, no anything like that. I started doing those over 3 years ago. And at first it was a weekend, taking 2 days. I was so burnt out from work. Now you mentioned in New York, not a lot of people doing this. Just in an entrepreneurial world in general,
Yeah.
people
It's
don't
not.
do that. Even if they don't run a business online, they still don't do that. They're still
Yeah.
scrolling on TikTok and everything. So
Mhm.
I started over 3 years ago. I was so burnt out. I was getting some like autoimmune stuff. I was getting sick because I was just so stressed in building the business. And then I just realized like, what's the point of helping people not get cancer if I may get it out of being stressed and not doing this sustainably? And there's a big shift for me that the only way I'm going to get to 1 million people by 2050 is through sustainability. I can't be burnt out until 2050. So I have to find a way to pace myself. So I started with the weekend and I felt like a brand new man. Like, honestly, I came out of it. I was like, I feel like myself again. I felt like a kid again, like who I was as a kid. I really connected with
Yeah.
me. I was like, I need to do more of that. So then I was like, you know what? Let me just try a week because that's the ultimate test for a business, right? Obviously, can you leave for 4 weeks? But
Yeah.
can I leave for a week and kind of things still be fine? I was like, I think it's a good small test. And so
Mhm.
for me, my least busy week in business, like across the past 6 years, the first week of every month. So like, all right, it feels pretty safe to leave for the first week of every month.
Mhm.
So I tried it. I came back to my team. I was like, hey, we're trying to set things up, but ultimately things will break. Trying to fix them. Don't make big decisions. When I come back, let's talk about it. I
Mhm.
came back. They're like, this, and this break. I'm like, fantastic. What systems can we put in place? Who can we hire to make sure these things don't happen? And
Mm.
then every 3 months, I was doing that. So 3 months later, I'd leave for another week. I come
Yeah.
back. They're like, the things that previously broke didn't, but this new thing broke. I'm like, fantastic. What system do we need to put in place?
Mm.
And then I went from doing it every 3 months to every 2 months.
Mhm.
Last year, I did every 2 months. And then every 6 months, I did a 2 week one. So I left like no contact with my team for a full 14 days.
Wow.
It was fantastic. I had so much fun.
Yeah.
And then this past June, I got sick again out of doing it every 2 months. And I felt like at the end of that 8th week, I was kind of getting burnt out.
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? Still not worth it. Let's do it the first week of every month. And I've been doing that since June and it's been perfect. It's been
Wow.
kind of the perfect balance for how much I'm able to come
Yeah.
out and have like somewhat of a mini sprint and then
Mhm.
rest for a week. So it's been a good flow, but it took me
Yeah.
time to build the systems for my team to be able to run things.
Mhm.
Honestly, at this point, I could probably leave for 4 weeks, just come back to pay invoices and then kind of be
Yeah.
okay if my
Wow.
content is all recorded. But obviously, I want to grow and help more people, so
Yeah.
I do have to do other stuff. But what do I do during those digital detoxes is whatever I want. Usually, it takes me a good 24 to 48 hours for my brain to stop wanting to check emails
Mm.
and my phone.
Mhm.
Usually, will nap every day for the first 3 days. Like I'll sleep in and then
Mhm.
midday, I'll be after my workout, I'll be like, I'm tired. Cool. I'll go take like a 1 to 2 hour nap and I'll
Mm.
rest. And then the rest of the day, the rest of the time is just whatever I want to do. Like I just allow myself to be a kid. So if I want to go karting, I'll go karting. If I go mountain
Yeah.
biking, I'll go mountain bike. If I just want to
Yeah.
sit, we went camping, my wife and I just
Yeah.
sat in a camping chair and looked at the lake and the mountain for like 3 hours straight. Just sat there, did nothing. No riding, I
Wow.
just enjoyed nature. It took me a long time to get to the place of sitting for 3 hours and being okay with doing nothing.
Mhm.
The lesson of sometimes doing nothing is the best thing you can do and is the most productive thing you can do was repeated to me over and over again. But personally, it took me a while to click, to like really understand what that meant. And then sometimes if I'm feeling really good and I do want to like work a little bit, I'll pick one area of the business and I'll just have a pen and paper, no digital softwares, and I'll
Mhm.
just kind of write and brainstorm
Got it.
the thought. But
Wow.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Just do fun stuff with my wife. And on the last
Yeah.
thing, I want to add that because I'm saying a lot of things. Because of my previous experience with my late partner, what I realize is you have to make time count. And I also got that tattooed on
Mhm.
my other arm because you never know when your time is going to come. And when
Mhm.
someone passes away, it's never like, oh, I wish they had more time, which obviously you would say that. But for me, it was more like, I wish I made the time that I had count. Because how many times are just watching Netflix, being on your
Yeah.
phone beside your partner, right? Being in your own
Yeah.
bubble. So I wanted to make time count. And so my wife and I take those 1 weeks to make time count. Go
Yeah.
camping. We're going to Asia for, in next year. So we just take that time to make sure that we connect as
Yeah.
individuals and as a couple, especially since she's my business partner. So we need
Yeah.
to take that time.
Yeah, that's wow, so well put. And that's it is not easy. I feel like I'm in your position years prior to that because I'm single and I find it very hard. I like doing things alone, but I'm like I don't know what I would do. Like if I took time off because I'm such a social person where I'd want somebody, but like at this stage of my life, I notice everyone around me has kids, they have partners. So for me, it's been really hard to like not work because I'm like, what can I do? Text my friend, they're with their boyfriend. They're out. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. So it's like one of those things I enjoy, like, I'll watch Gilmore Girls and just sit on the couch by myself and be fine with that. I've gone on walks, I've gone to coffee shops, things like that. I think I've just become so used to doing a lot alone that I'm like, I don't know what I would do if I took like a week off. I feel like it would be more intentional, more special with somebody to build like a relationship. And so, like, hearing things like that, I'm like, I would love to do that, but I'm like, I would not want to do it alone. I do so much alone. I'm like, I don't know what I would want to do. Like, I don't know how I would do that alone. So I don't know if you have advice on like how maybe somebody that is like, how would somebody go about it? Or like, what's a good way to go about it? Also to be safe, because I don't know how safe I would feel like going camping by myself or things. So like, do you have any advice for that? Like someone on the
Yeah.
flip side.
Yeah, I'll ask 2 things, because I don't wanna make any
Yeah.
assumptions, but a lot of
Yeah.
time when people say that they're doing things alone, they got
Yeah.
headphones in and they're listening to a podcast or
Yeah.
they have their phone handy on them. So
Yeah.
to literally just go for a walk and not have your phone and not have your
Yeah.
headphones and just let your mind wander.
Yeah.
The most beautiful ideas I've ever had for business, for my personal life, have been out of being bored. And
Yeah.
for you and for people listening, like, when's the last time you're, like, bored for, like, an hour? Like, a long
I
time ago.
literally can't think of any time I'm ever bored. Like, I don't, and that's probably not great because I'm always thinking of like building my business. I'm always like, ooh, this is something I need to do or go. And I'm just a one woman show. Like, there is no soundboard, there's no anybody else, nothing. So
Yeah.
that's such a good point. I'm like, I
Well
don't know a time I've been bored.
well, I mean, so let me just point a difference. There's a
Yeah.
difference between thinking and reflecting.
Mm.
So if you're thinking all the time of like, what's the next thing that I gotta do, blah, 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 you're just adding on task one after another.
Mm-hmm.
But reflecting is having the space to look at everything else from a different angle.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that idea of being bored allows you like go do anything else that then work. And then you'll
Yeah.
just notice that randomly, like, oh, what if I did this with the podcast? What if I did this for the coaching? What if I wrote this? And then just make a
Yeah.
quick note and you go back to having fun. Also, a lot of times when people think about what they would do if they were to not be on social media or kind of do things
Yeah.
alone, it's always hypothetical because they're just sitting in
Mm-hmm.
their house thinking about it. Like,
Yeah.
just go for a walk, go for a hike, go to the beach, go do stuff. Once you're at the beach,
Yeah.
you might see something like, cool, I see people surfing. Let me just go pay to go surf right now. Like, why
Yeah.
does it need to be structured in a different day? Just go
Yeah.
surfing right now. I really want to go to this restaurant. Cool, let's just go to this restaurant right now. Yeah. Just like
It's a good way to
letting,
think.
starting to like let your body like think about what
Choose.
it wants and then just,
Yeah.
it's your week. Have fun with it or your weekend. Just
Yeah.
do the thing that you want to do.
Yeah. It's so well put. And that's something I've been listening to more. Like this morning, I woke up, for example, and I'm like, I really want to go to this coffee shop and just sit there for a few minutes. And I did that. I woke up, I was up 6:30 and I'm like, let me go to the coffee shop. It's enough time. And sometimes I just sit there and look around and there's no service there. So I can never go on my phone anyway or make calls or anything because it's just a no service zone.
Yeah.
Or at least for my phone, my AT&T. So I don't know, maybe Verizon works, but my phone, it never works, never send text or anything. So I'm like, it gives me an opportunity. And those are moments I genuinely get so excited for. And so it is important to note. And I think I do have in my phone little simple joys little things that I enjoy that are just so simple. And it's going to a coffee shop, going on a walk. I usually never wear headphones. Like even when I work out, I don't listen to music. I don't listen to anything. I just listen to whatever's around. I just love that you have that and you practice it. And that's something I'm learning to incorporate and learning to do as a business owner. And there is so much importance around rest and having fun and being a kid again. You're right about, I think there was another podcast you were on. I mean, you were on plenty of podcasts, but there was another thing that you had said one time about you have better ideas when you come back and you're more like, you're ready to go when you come back from the detoxes. Am I correct in saying that?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, and my team
yeah,
knows. My team
yeah,
knows that to clear their plate so that when I come back, I'll be like,
yeah.
"Hey, we need to like eliminate
That's
this
great.
completely and do this." So
Yeah,
they're ready for it for sure at that point. But, one thing is everyone always talks about their phone.
yeah.
Just pen and paper.
Yeah.
Because if you take notes on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
you'll end up looking at something else. And it's just a
True.
principle of like looking at the screen and typing is not the same
Yeah.
as writing, in my opinion. And you
Yeah.
just, hey, you should, obviously, I would never share these things publicly, but you should see the stuff that's written in my notebook.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's stupid stuff because I had the thought, I'm like, let me just
Yeah.
explore it and write. And as I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I'm writing it, and you end up to a really cool conclusion. And you're like, you know what? Maybe that didn't change my life, but it was good insight, and
Yeah.
or it provided valuable insight into maybe a trait or a character trait that I have that I want to improve.
Yeah.
You just get out the brain wander a little bit. Sometimes it's too structured.
Yeah, and that's my thing. I have this good old notebook that has
Yeah,
like it's business ideas and it's all over the place. But this is I mainly use it just in my office. So like anywhere else it's my phone, but that's a good idea. Like I have all these small little notebooks to carry. So maybe for people listening, get a small notebook and carry it with you. have
I have a
have
small
something
one
that you
too.
could yeah, you're good with that. So like people listening can be like, "Perfect." Yeah, just as something to write ideas down, but to get back into the rhythm of also just giving you that like you said digital detox. So I commend you so much because I've never met anyone who just says like, "No, I'm gone for 7 days. I run a company." And you know what it goes to show what great of a leader you are that you can like let your crew just let your staff or let your employees be fine and you don't have to or let your team there we go that's the word I'm looking for let your team run on without you. That goes to show what a strong business you built because a business you as a leader should be able to step away and everything run seamlessly without you. So that's a
Yeah.
it's taking I'm sure it's taken a while to get there, but it just goes to show what a great leader you are.
Oh, thank you. I honestly, I
Yeah.
think I just have a great team. Like it did take a while to find the right team members.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's called Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0. I think it's Jim Collins. I can't remember who wrote the book, but they talk about like if you as a CEO and a leader, you need to find a direction that you're heading in. And he uses the analogy of a bus. So it's like you need to set the direction that the bus is heading in. Now you
Mhm.
need to make sure you have the right people on the bus that want to be on the bus. So
Mhm.
being able to be on the bus and wanting to be on the bus are two very different things. And
Mhm.
then the other one is once you have people on the bus, making sure that they're in the right seats.
Mhm.
And that for I had people on my team, on my staff that I had to be like, "Hey, I think you would be way better in this seat." So I had a conversation with them. I was like, "What makes you happy? What do you like to do?" And they're
Mhm.
like, "This." I'm like, "Fantastic. Let me just move you to this seat because you actually
Yeah.
like doing it. It's not a chore."
Yeah.
And it took a while to build the team that we have. The majority of our employees have been with us for 4 or 5 plus years.
Yeah.
And obviously we added new ones because we're expanding, but
Yeah.
a lot of people just stick around for a long time. You definitely need to go through, you need
Yeah.
to bring a few people on the bus to be like, all right, cool. They don't want to be on the bus or they're not in the right seat. And it's okay. It's part of growing and trying to build
Yeah.
something. But yeah, and you can't micromanage people all the
Mhm.
time. That's another hard one to learn.
Yeah. That's and I again, it does not seem like you are in that position of a micromanager anyway, but it's I do hear you because I've have worked for people who are very much micromanagers and it was very hard to keep the morale up.
Yeah.
And so that's, but I really do believe that you're setting the precedence of, listen, I take time off, I take care of myself, I nurture my relationships. You guys should too. And so that's a really good leader that you are. And so I do want to pivot back to your book. Is that what can readers expect to learn, to take away? What are they is going to really be focused on in the book? I don't know if there's different chapters that highlight steps to anything, but just like a basic overview of. I know you highlighted it earlier, a little bit of what to expect, like to the audience of people who maybe cannot do coaching right now. They could read your book, and you'll still help them. So, what can readers expect?
Yeah. So they can expect just a full blueprint on how to get a full transformation. So if you're looking to actively improve your body composition, which simply means to put on lean muscle tissue and decrease the amount of body fat you have on your body, on a whole food plant-based diet and or a more plant-based centric diet. Even if you just want to be 70, 80%, 90%, hey, the more plant-based you eat, the better it's going to be for your health, right? I can't twist someone's arm to force them to eat 100% plant-based, but if I can throw in more veggies and more grains and legumes on your plate, then I know I'm reducing the risk of you getting potentially sicker down
Mm-hmm.
the road. So like all the principles are in there. So how to calculate your calories, how to calculate your protein goal, how to adjust
So
your
cool.
nutrition as your body is transforming because your body will adapt and plateau with your training and with your nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So in the
Mm-hmm.
book, there's workout programs, there's meal plans that
So
go from
cool.
every calorie range. There's over 500 recipes in there that are higher plant-based protein and that are whole food plant-based. There's all the 5 phases of our program, which is going to be body recomposition, reverse dieting, lean muscle building phase, maintenance, and an athletic phase. So there's like a step-by-step of how to go through all the phases. And again, as you get stuck, how to adjust your nutrition and your training.
Mm,
Because at the end of the day, people take a plan and then they do it forever. But eventually, it's not that the
yeah.
plan stops working, is your body adapts to it and it knows how to do it. So why would it
Mm-hmm.
change? Because you're always doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a massive amount of mindset work to build a foundation
Mm-hmm.
because throughout all the years of coaching, like who cares if I give you the best workout plan in the world and the best meal plan in the
Mm-hmm.
world? You don't do it. You'll be in
Yeah.
the same position you're in today. You just hold a really cool plan in your hand.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
helping them lay out the foundation as to what it takes to be able to have a successful transformation, understand that you don't have to be perfect. And that when you do mess up, because you will, and every single person we've ever worked with has messed up. I've messed up in my own
Yep.
transformation.
Me
It
too.
happens. Exactly. Like we all have some vegan mochis when we're not supposed to, this is really good. How do you pivot from that? How do you continue to get back on track? I want to say the word recover because then you fall into like a vicious cycle of trying to cut your food and over exercise,
Mm-hmm.
trying to compensate for a good time that you had with your family, but something like winning the next meal, winning the next workout. So giving them tools and strategies to be able to handle when life throws you a curveball, whether it's a self-inflicted one or just it's
Mm-hmm.
stressful with work. A family member gets sick, you're going on a trip, and it teaches you how to be able to navigate these different scenarios. And there's a ton
Mm-hmm.
of great stories from our members in the book as
Good.
well, just because I think if you can find someone that had a similar background than you and I was able to transform, it just shows you that it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of, we've talked to thousands of people throughout the years. A big one is like, I don't think it'll work for me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think my body is able to change. I'm like, well, that's interesting because here's 10 examples of people that were in a worse position than you that were able to transform. So theoretically, if they can do it, you can
You
also
can
do
do.
it, right?
Yeah.
So that's and also trying to instill some new beliefs into people into the book because one of my belief is whatever I want to accomplish, I can because I'm pretty confident that there's someone in the world that is in a worse position than I am, achieving more than what I want to achieve in the direction that I want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can do it, why can I not? I do it, right? And so same thing with fitness and transformation and fat loss.
Yeah. I cannot wait to read it. I'm very excited about that because I will tell you, I mean, even for myself, writing the book I did, I had somebody the other day send me like a voice message telling me like your book like gives me so much inspiration, like it's really helps put things into perspective. It makes me think. And it's a handbook, but it's not the accountability part. And I've noticed, and this book could also bring hundreds of people to your coaching. And that could also be something that's great to just help you grow. But I think that's something, and I think that the biggest thing that people struggle with is accountability and consistency. And even for my own clients, like I know that I have some clients that I know they can do it. They just sometimes need that weekly check-in. Like we hop on Zoom and we're checking in. And so with your coaching program that you offer, how long is it? What does it look like for somebody who's interested in joining? So, talk about your coaching program first. How long is it? You explain the steps. If somebody's interested in doing it, what can they expect?
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to address the accountability piece because
Yeah.
I think people see it as a negative thing that like, well, I can't be self accountable, therefore I need this external thing to kind of solve my problem,
Mm-hmm.
and people see it as a negative way. I think in my position, like I do pretty well for myself.
Yeah.
We've helped a lot of people. I'm in pretty good shape. I do all of those
Yeah.
things. I have coaches to hold me accountable.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
I
I'm
have
not someone
coaches.
that lacks accountability, but life gets busy. So it's nice to like have a call with someone every 2 weeks. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you told me you were going to do this. I'm like, oh shit, I totally forgot
Mm-hmm.
because this, and this happened. All right, cool. My bad. Okay, bye. In the next 3 days, I'll message you and text you to tell you that
Mm-hmm.
I've done the thing. Right. And
Yep.
so it's not that you lack accountability, that you're not disciplined. It's just sometimes life gets busy and it's nice to be like, oh, I have to have that check in with that person. I need to do these actions before I meet with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it is not a negative thing to need accountability. I don't need accountability and I have accountability because it helped me be a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to address that because people have such a negative connotation of like, oh, I
Yeah.
suck. I can't do it by myself. Every successful person I
Yeah.
know has people
Has
checking in on
coaches
them.
and
Yeah,
mentors.
100%.
I was gonna say the people, the businessmen, the people in those positions that you think they're just doing it all, they have a team. Every
Yeah.
person that I know who is successful, super successful, my NBA player, it's a whole team just for
Yeah.
him. Just for him. So it's like you have a team, I have a team. I have multiple mentors, and I have a coach even in my fitness and vegan world. So they're so important, and it's true, like even though you know what you're doing, like I know what I'm doing, and so I don't need somebody to write out my macros or somebody to do that because I can do it. But it's nice to have the accountability of like, did I actually, eat enough fiber like I said I was? Did I hit my 80 grams of fiber this week like I wanted to hit? So those things we can touch on. So back
Yeah.
to anyway, your coaching program.
Yeah, yeah. And then, sometimes you just feel like shit, and it's nice to have a call with someone
Yeah.
and just vent it out and be like,
So
"Hey, I'm
true.
still on track, but I'm having a rough day, and you're gonna hear
Or
about
a
it."
rough week.
Yeah, exactly. And you're gonna hear about it, and then sometimes they just give you
Yeah.
because they're not emotionally tied to it. They give you a different
Mhm.
perspective.
Yeah.
My coach told me at one point, he's like, "You're just looking for reasons to feel like shit." And I was like, and that hit me solid. I was like, you know what? I am. Never mind. My life's good. I'm okay.
Damn.
So yeah, going back to our coaching program. So yeah, what we do is we have a full health team. So when you come in, you get a dedicated nutritionist. You get
So back to
no,
your coaching program.
yeah. So basically, when people come in, they get a dedicated nutritionist, a dedicated trainer, they get a dedicated accountability coach. So if they
Mhm.
want to, they can have a call every week, every 2 weeks, or every month. Like that's up to them to decide how much check-ins they want. We have group calls with health experts that come and teach our members because
Yeah.
a big part is, education, right? It's one thing to have the plan, but you have to understand why you have the plan. So there's weekly group calls, weekly check-ins, one-on-one calls with their trainer, with their nutritionist, with their accountability coach.
Mhm.
Duration of the program varies depending on the goal, to be honest with you. So
Okay.
I would say the majority of people work with us like 12 to 18 months on their transformation because they go through the different phases of the program. We don't let people just do the body recomposition phase because it's kind of pointless if you don't do reverse dieting after to speed up your metabolism post transformation. Because if not,
Mhm.
you'll just be in the same boat as everyone else. You'll put the weight back on, right?
Yep.
Even though you've
I hear that.
Yeah, even though you've done it in a sustainable way, like you still have to speed up your metabolism after. I would say 12 to 18 months is kind of the average that people end up working with us. Uh,
Mhm.
I say we calculate based off of like goal and weight loss. So reverse dieting takes about 4 months on average because if you rush
Mhm.
it, a little bit more higher rate of weight gain. And then we aim for maybe like 1 to 3 pounds loss per month
Mhm.
on the fat loss side. So it's a little bit on the slower side than what you'll see when you work with 20-year-olds. But our
Yeah.
members are 50 all the way up to 87.
Yeah.
They have decades of yo-yo dieting and attempt at losing weight and not eating a lot and not
Mhm.
exercising. And so because also of sarcopenia, so natural decrease of lean muscle
Yeah.
tissue as they get older, we don't want to do massive steep calorie deficits just because they'll lose even more muscle, which is counterproductive to make sure that they are able to be healthy and independent for the rest of their life. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, we aim for that 1 to 3 pound of fat loss. If someone's on the younger side, like in their knees or in their 30s, it's obviously a little bit faster
Mhm.
to lose the weight, but we just like to set manageable expectation because that's a
Yeah.
big part that gets people messed up. It's like you're going to lose
Mhm.
20 pounds in a month and then they only lose 10 and they're pissed. 10 pounds in a month is like
I would never I think that's even as somebody who has a coaching program right now, which I would love to work with like solely vegans, but that's not my like I'm helping everybody just eat more plants.
it's perfect.
But and I tell my clients from day one, I'm like, this is not a program where I'm going to promise you any amount of fat loss. I will promise you body recomposition and you will see changes. But
Yeah.
I can't promise you're going to hit that number on a scale because it's not every single body is different. So I'm glad that you also are very much of that mindset of like, yeah, it's like 1 to 3 pounds. Yes, you're working with the older population, but I think it's very hard for I am not crazy about programs that are like, you're going to lose guaranteed 10 pounds to 30 pounds in 3 months. And I'm like, it's not sustainable. Like, what?
It's not just that. Like, I'll be honest with you, not to badmouth people in the industry. I'm not going to say any names,
No, we don't
but
have
if
to.
they say, if you don't lose 20 pounds in your first 3 months, we give you all
No.
your money back.
Yeah.
I've been in this industry for a while. Here's the hack on that. In the contract you're going to sign once you pay, it tells you that you have to be 100% compliant on training and nutrition and attend all the group calls and do everything perfectly. You fault even once and you're not eligible to get your money back. So
Mhm.
anything that promises you crazy weight loss like that and your money back, look at the
Yeah.
contract once you sign it.
Yep.
And then make you sign it after, by the way. So that's what I'm saying. Like we rather be
Yep.
realistic because the idea is not to be 20 pounds lighter for 3 months, but can we be
Mhm.
20 pounds lighter for the rest of your life? Like that's the whole idea behind it. And for the book, the reason I called it Forever Fit is because I say realistically, you won't be forever fit. But the
Yeah.
idea is that if ever life throws, like, you're gonna lose the weight, you're gonna speed up your metabolism, you're gonna be in great shape. Hey, your partner might get sick and you might have to take care of them and you won't be able to be on top of your nutrition and you might put on
Mhm.
5 to 10 pounds. Life
Mhm.
happens. Like, no one's gonna beat you over the head for that. But it's like once you have the ability, you can go back to the book and the tools to be able to get you back in a good position. That's
Yeah.
why I called it Forever Fit. It's because having the tools to get back to that position of fitness that you care for, which
Yeah.
changes drastically if you're 20, 30, 40, 60, 70, or 80 years old.
That's I mean, everything you're saying is wonderful, and I 100 billion% support what you're doing and your coaching. And it's funny you say the 12 to 18 months because even for my own coaching program, I do like a 4 month one, but I tell the clients on my setup call, I'm like, it's probably going to be like, if you want sustainable results, you're going to want to at least dedicate a year. I'm like, I'm not committing you to a year, but that's my recommendation because I have most of my clients stay with me for a year and a half, 2 years. So
Yeah.
because they're like, shoot, I don't know what to do after this. And I'm like, yeah, we got to continue because then in the beginning, you're unlearning learned behaviors that don't serve you, or learning how to eat more fiber, or learning how to drink water, the foundations, which that is something that it's your why. It's setting the foundation and building up from that. And then this has to change in order for this to change. So I know your coaching program talks about that. You talk about that, or you have spoken about that of like your why. You have to have the why. You have to do the deep digging to be able to have that drive to do it. I don't even like to say motivation because motivation's like lotion. You got to keep reapplying it. You're developing discipline. You wake up, you brush your teeth. Do you always want to brush your teeth? No, but you do it anyway because it's like riding a bike. You're so used to it and you know that it's good for your teeth. So same with drinking water, same with eating multiple meals a day. And so I did want to pivot to what I brought up before about whole food plant-based versus vegan. So how would you explain that to somebody listening to this podcast? It is like, okay, whole food plant-based vegan, aren't they the same thing? Aren't they both still healthy? Like, how would you approach that?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't want to interrupt you earlier, but I'd love to say
No.
something about the why
Yeah.
also,
Yeah, tell me.
because I don't know, I've been in the self-development space for like over a decade now. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you need a strong why, blah, blah, blah. And I never understood why until I went into business and shit got hard. And when shit got hard, I was like, oh, yeah, like that's why I do that, you know? So it's
Mhm.
like on the day where you want to order that extra large pizza and skip the gym, is the why strong enough to get you to show up? So, like, if you have kids
Mhm.
and you don't want to go to work, well, you don't go to work for yourself at this point. You go to work to feed your family. So that's a strong enough why. So the why is only helpful when times are shitty. Because when times are good, everyone's gonna go work out,
Yeah.
make good decisions, and you slept 10 hours, you feel awesome.
Mhm.
Your why is simply for the days where they're hard, they're challenging, and you don't want to. Like that's where they become valuable. The rest of the time, live in California, you sleep 8 hours a day, you're feeling good. It's easier to go to the gym, right? Um, for vegan and whole foods, yeah. So, whole food plant based, a lot of times we refer to foods that only have one ingredient, so they don't necessarily need a nutritional label. I would personally put tofu and tempeh in that category because they're
Yeah.
pretty freaking close.
I would too.
I wouldn't put, Beyond Burgers or
Mhm.
vegan chicken nuggets or vegan ice cream in that category. So, like we said earlier, Oreos, they're vegan, vegan ice cream, vegan pizza, vegan burgers.
Mhm.
There's so many vegan versions of Western junk food now
Mhm.
that are, again, theoretically vegan. No animals were killed in the making of that process. Doesn't mean it's healthy for you.
Yeah.
So that's why we like to prioritize eating whole food plant based.
Mhm.
And when I say that, I'm also human and I'm realistic. I like to go for like a 90-10 split. Some people go
Mhm.
80-20.
I'm at 80
I'm going to
20, I'd say.
have right? If I go to a Nixie in New York, it's not going to be all whole food plant based, but I'm going to have a good time when I go there and eat some good food. So you want to have some of those foods that you do enjoy that allow you to socialize and have a good time and not feel like you're restricted. Because if you eat 100% whole food plant based, pretty hard to be social and eat out with your family and go
Yeah.
to family gatherings and or go on date nights. And so that's why I
Yeah.
like that like 90-10 split, because it allows you to have a good time and you understand that it's not the best for you, but it's only 10% of your food versus it being, 50 to 60% of your food.
Yeah. And I would say vegan also would consist more of I mean, they both consist of a lifestyle, but from people I've interviewed and talked with about what vegan means, it's usually like no leather, no animal products in the house. If you have Uggs, you're not wearing Uggs. And where whole food plant based is your eating style. That is something you're choosing to help provide a better lifestyle. So would you agree with that or have anything to add to that?
For sure. That
Yeah.
that is a whole reason we rebranded the company, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
With
Cause
the whole food, yeah.
yeah, because it's, I went from, it used to be called Fit Vegan Coaching for almost 6 years, and we just changed it to Mavy Wellness, which is just my
Yeah.
wife and I's name together, Maxime and Ivy.
Yeah. I read that on the rebranding, you and your wife posted on Instagram. I was like, "Yay, that's so cute." So
Yeah,
cute.
and so I honestly get more hate from vegans online than I do from non-vegans, and it was
Yeah.
sad because, like, I've been helping the vegan movement for almost 6 years, and like I said, my mission, I wanna help people not get sick, right?
Yeah.
Does eating whole food, plant-based guarantee that you won't get sick? No, but I see it as a seat belt. If you get in a car
Mhm.
accident without a seat belt, pretty high likelihood of dying. If you have a seat belt on, way less likely to die, so that's how I see whole food, plant-based.
Yeah.
And that's the reason we decided to step away from using the word vegan, just because when we did some polls and some surveys anonymously, not under our own brands, when we asked people like, hey, are you interested in plant-based eating because it reduces inflammation, cholesterol, blood
Mhm.
pressure, and all those things? Yes. Okay. Then would you click on a video that said vegan recipe or vegan workout or blah, blah, blah? And it was like over 90% of people would not click, but they would be interested in plant-based eating.
Yes.
And so I care more about the impact and getting more people to eat plant based than to like force myself to use this one word that unfortunately has become more loaded throughout the years. And again, everyone has it in their heart to have the impact that they want to have the way that they want to. Fantastic. I just want to help more people eat plant based. And if the word vegan's preventing me from doing that, that's okay. I'll just use a
Mhm.
different word.
Yeah, and I honestly am with you on that. I say for myself, usually plant-based is like how I'll say like, "Oh, we want to include more plants," or even well, that was my book, The 7 Plus Lifestyle, about eating 7 plus like alkalizing foods versus acidic foods and just like, okay, what are foods that are very healthy and kind to our bodies and that's plants. And that was what I went about and my approach for coaching has been, and even like I have a free fiber guide, it's always been about fiber because people, and I focus on fiber through whole foods. So people are like, how do I get more fiber? Hitting 20 grams is really hard, which I have clients who don't hit more than 5 grams a day. So it's like working to introduce them to eating more fiber and then they have to rearrange their plates. And they're like,
Yeah.
"Wait, I don't have enough fiber at this meal. Like that means I have to include another sweet potato and include another thing of like rice here and maybe I do need to lower this protein source that I'm using." And so that's been my educational approach because unfortunately, it's so sad that vegan has gotten such a bad rep. Like it has, and it's very, very sad because the intention is not, the intention is to educate people and help people live in a more compassionate world. Yet there has been a lot of hate towards it. And I think that to become like accessible to more people, that's something. I mean, you rebranded even for me, like my focus is really how do we include more fiber? How do we go about that and whole food fiber? It's not just taking a fiber supplement. How do we
Yeah.
actually get the fiber from whole foods? So
It's like a
it's very
workaround,
interesting.
basically.
Yeah. Yeah. You work it around and then you're like, wait, you're eating a lot of plant-based foods. Look at that. So it's yeah, it's been something that I've been working towards as well of just like how to communicate with people so they don't shut you out because a lot of people will shut you out, which is again unfortunate. But I know we're almost out of time. So my last question for you is what advice would you give to somebody who is trying to better their health or nervous to take a step towards prioritizing their health. And if you have any advice that you received ever in your life that you're like, this has stuck with me and I need to tell the world about it. So I'll throw that very long question at you.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the answer would be the same for both of the questions. So my mentor told me that when I started the business almost 6 years ago, but I would also apply it to people that are just starting their fitness journey because I don't know for you, but I think most people, when you're like, I need to eat healthy and exercise, they feel like everything needs to be perfect. Like,
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah.
I need to get a gym membership. I need my nice gym outfit. I need my shoes
Hmm.
to be ready. I need to buy meal prep containers, but then I need to go grocery shopping. I need to make sure there's no junk food in the house. Let me finish the junk food in the house before I go grocery shopping and then prep my meals. And there's like all this idea of like setting everything perfectly. And if you are able to achieve that as a start, then you start and 3 days into it, you're stressed at work, you're stuck in traffic, your food went bad in the fridge. You're like, shit, I'm going to order pizza
Hmm.
because it's the easiest thing to do, even though you can order a salad and it would
Yeah.
cost pretty much the same and take the same amount of time on Uber Eats. So the idea of taking imperfect action, that's something that drastically changed my life, right? When I
Hmm.
took my first digital detox, massive imperfect action. I left and a lot of stuff broke. And I came back, I was like, let's fix it. Opportunity to improve, right? We're learning here. Great. What can I do differently? So being okay with taking imperfect action, which could be like, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym and I don't know what I'm doing, but it's fine. You went to the gym, you saw a new machine, like, what's this machine? You're probably gonna go on Instagram trying to figure out what it is. Like,
Yeah.
at least you're getting the ball rolling in the right direction. And
Yeah.
I have never learned faster than when I took imperfect action because I took imperfect action and I was like, all right, cool. This worked. This didn't feel that great or that didn't work. Okay, why didn't that work? Well, let's not do that anymore. Let's do this instead.
Hmm.
And versus sitting there and pondering over what is the perfect idea and the perfect path. Okay, when this happened, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen. And
Yeah.
we all know that that's not how that works. When this
Never.
happens, something completely different that you didn't expect is going to happen that you weren't mentally ready for. So just start, be adaptable, be okay with things not working perfectly, but then be okay with receiving the lesson and just slightly tweaking your approach for the next action you're going to take. So if you are okay with taking imperfect action in any area of your life, will drastically improve the quality of your life.
Yeah, and it's control the controllables, which is very hard because there's not a lot of things you can control in your day to day, but maybe you can control the amount of water you drink in a day. And that might be the only thing you can. So thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I could talk to you for hours and we could talk
Yeah,
about probably 1,000 things. And I would love to have you on again and we could talk more even about your basketball journey, a little bit about sports nutrition. So I'd love to have you on again if you're open to being on in
let's
the
make it
future.
happen.
So that would be awesome. So everybody listening, thank you for listening and I will go ahead and include all Maxime's information. Yes, all information below. And Maxime, sorry, all Maxime's information below. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be able to connect you with him. But continue to keep living your best life. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. If you would like to continue to get these episodes first thing, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube and on Spotify under Best Life by You. If you're interested in working together, y'all can go ahead and visit bestlifebyyou.com/work with me, or go ahead and follow me on Instagram at NutriFitJulia. Send me a DM or just follow for more information, fun tips, and just a lot of humor. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's continue to live the best life by you.